The Sudan People Liberation Movement (SPLM) is the dominant party that led South Sudan to its independence in 2011. In 2013, the SPLM imploded into SPLM-IG and SPLM-IO as a result of a power struggle within the SPLM between President Salva Kiir and First Vice President Dr. Riek Machar. Fast forward, and we now have the SPLM-IG headed by President Salva Kiir Mayardit and the SPLM-IO headed by First Vice President Dr. Riek Machar. Both SPLM-IG and SPLM-IO are the main parties in the current revitalized government. In this video, we lump the two SPLMs, SPLM-IG and SPLM-IO, under one SPLM that was founded in 1983. The SPLM of 1983 and the existing ones have the same original manifesto. However, over the years, the SPLM manifesto has been updated during national conventions, for example, 1994 and 2008. In this video, we have analyzed 5 forgotten ideas in the SPLM, SPLM-IG and SPLM-IO manifesto. Our main source of reference is the 2008 SPLM, SPLM-IG and SPLM-IO manifesto edition for New Sudan, South Sudan. Here are they. First, use of oil to grow agriculture. From part 4.23. We quote, "While oil revenues are a boon to the economy, they shall cease to be so if they are not used to fuel agriculture, rural development, and the transformation of traditional farming through technological innovations." Sadly, the SPLM, SPLM-IG, and SPLM-IO leadership hasn't done any of that. There is nothing to show for the oil our country produces daily. We can attest that the oil has not been used to develop agriculture or any other industry. From part 4.24, we quote, "In order to end urban bias and center-focused development orientation, the SPLM's vision is to take towns to people in the countryside rather than people to towns, where they end up in slums with a consequent deterioration in the quality of their lives. Taking towns to the people in the countryside rather than people to towns will not only preclude the phenomenon of slum dwellers, but will also help ensure that people stay on the land so that agriculture and agro-industry can flourish. Unfortunately, the philosophy of taking towns to people was dead on arrival. What we have seen is a large migration of South Sudanese to urban centers. Our leaders are known to spend 95% of their time in Juba and do not care to be on the ground to address pressing issues. Slums are rising fast in Juba because the SPLM leaders have forgotten taking towns to people in the SPLM manifesto. We encourage them to reread and digest the SPLM manifesto. Second, fight against corruption. From part 4.13, we quote, "The fight against corruption constitutes one of the key pillars of good governance. Hence, it shall be waged with ever-increasing rigor." From part 4.22, we quote, "Therefore, the new Sudan or South Sudan economic system shall be efficient and equitable in a sustainable fashion in which corruption and graft are eliminated. Private initiative is encouraged. Competitiveness is observed, and the government's social responsibility is not abdicated. It is a free market economy in which both the public and private sectors complement and reinforce each other, with the role of the public sector concentrated on providing social overhead services, basic infrastructure, social welfare, and technical and technological advancement." From the two parts above, the SPLM, SPLM-IG and SPLM-IO leaders have not moved an inch to bring to book corrupt leaders in the ranks and file. Nevertheless, the manifesto is vague and does not spell out or outline how corruption is to be fought. Is the corruption to be fought at the party level or outside the party structures, for example, courts? If the SPLM manifesto means at the party level, well, we haven't seen any white smoke. In fact, the SPLM, SPLM-IG and SPLM-IO leaders have recycled those corrupt leaders. The corrupt leaders get reappointed all the time. At the national level, it is IBIT. Corruption has become a national curriculum studied and practiced by everyone. Third, equality of rights. In part 4.16, we quote, "Human rights and people's rights will be firmly embedded in the constitution of the new Sudan, South Sudan. All persons are equal before or under the law in the spheres of political, economic, social, and cultural life, and in every other respect, and shall enjoy equal protection of the law." The biggest abusers of human rights come from the SPLM, SPLM-IG and SPLM-IO factions. No action has been taken against them since 2008. Those who committed economic and social crimes are still walking free. Those who balkanized the country in pursuit of political goals are still free. The SPLM leaders, SPLM-IG and SPLM-IO, should reread this SPLM Manifesto and chart the way forward. Fourth, prosperity for all. From part 4.2, we quote, "We aim to establish a society of equal opportunities based on the principles of social justice and social solidarity between the strong and weak. In other words, as well as the release of private initiative, a robust system of social support is a crucial condition for the existence of a free society in the new Sudan. A free society can only be created in a stable political system that rules out all abuse and presupposes the state's active role in maintaining economic order in order to achieve prosperity for everybody. The state must regulate the free market to attain social objectives and not try to coerce it to realize such goals. The market is not an aim in itself, but rather a means of securing freedom and sufficiency for all citizens of the new Sudan. Ironically, this is no longer the case. After independence, the elites, relatives, and tribe mates hijacked all the opportunities. In a country where over 90% of the population depends on food aid, the elites are living their lives on the fast track. A large pool of our population is poor and below the poverty line. The social support, for example, minimum guaranteed income for those who need social assistance, example, students, orphans, single parents, etc., has been forgotten. If the market were to function well, we are afraid a large majority of our people would wallow in poverty. The beneficiaries of the market system will be the elites, not the people, which makes the reason for fighting for independence meaningless. We urge the SPLM and elites, regardless of their party affiliations, to revisit the SPLM Manifesto. Fifth, affirmative action. From part 4.5 we quote, "Affirmative action in favor of women shall continue and will only decline in the same measure as all centers of power and influence and other critical spheres in social endeavor become broadly representative of the country's demographics. In the process, all inequalities that may persist or arise will need to be addressed." The SPLM Manifesto states affirmative action for women, but the SPLM leaders haven't exercised any at all. They have made good progress in giving women senior leadership positions. For example, Vice Presidency, Speaker of the National Assembly, Gemma Nunukumba, Sarah Cleto, among others. However, the SPLM Manifesto is vague as it doesn't outline clearly how affirmative action in favor of women is to be carried out. The best way is for the National Assembly to pass the 23 Gender Bill. On a final note, these are just a few forgotten ideas in the SPLM Manifesto. Next time, you as the citizens should bring up these forgotten ideas to the SPLM stalwarts. Time and tides wait for no man. The SPLM is on its way out unless its leaders revisit its manifesto and implement it. What do you think? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section. Please don't forget to subscribe to the SSGTV South Sudan Global for subsequent analysis of our national issues.